Thanks for staying on News Today. Smallholder farmers continue to make a case that government pay special attention to their challenges, arguing that they and the agriculture sector, more than any other, is the most dependable and promising when it comes to developing the Ghanaian economy. Today, Adelaide Arthur goes up close and personal with Nana Boama, one such smallholder farmer who says the frustrations they face is driving a lot of his colleagues out of the business, which puts food on their tables.
On this 7-acre farm, you find many mounds under which tubers of yams are buried. Nana Boami also grows cassava and tomatoes on this farm. He is expecting to get more than 4,000 tubers from this farm alone when he harvests in January next year. It is one of 2 farms Nana Boami owns in the Afram Plains in the eastern region. It is not easy getting to the farm. One has to endure a long, bumpy and stressful ride through the bushes, and this is a trip Nana Boami makes on his motorbike daily. Trucks particularly find it difficult moving about, making transportation of farm produce very challenging, especially when it rains. The roads that are available are just footpaths, and when you're traveling with a car, you would have to create your own path as you go to the farm. And this is about 5 kilometers away from the town. And there are several farms here, not only for Nana Boami, but for several other farmers who are actually trying to make a living out of farming. That is why farming in this part of the country is very difficult for farmers. Moreover, the farms are not irrigated, though the Afram River is close to the town, leaving farmers like Nana Boami still dependent on rain. Harvesting the tubers is a laborious task. Extreme care is taken not to cut through them with hoes, because according to Nana Boami, the tubers tend to spoil quickly when they have these cuts. Considering the non-availability of proper storage, farmers strive to avoid cuts, and this does not make harvesting any easier.
Asono ko kabere ne bia eya na eni ahone ohono da ho chebe sa busu mienu miensa kono a anu no timi pro we na akwen kofi no tractor se wo hanso entimi endon kofi aye bo apata na yakuru ho ye diwiru anu abekuru ho na emu ayenyu emu be ku na ye debare na gum aka akra na be bo apata no evisa apata no afibia sa wo bo foforo evisa afu na afibia ye do eto aso ye ndo no fa akon.
Perhaps the most disheartening aspect of the entire endeavor for the farmers is the paltry sums dictated for their produce after enduring the tough planting season.
We are kese we be kwa kase bia 100 no ye beto no be say 2 million as 1.5. So no da dwan so wo wanye lock ya ye be kwa kase 1 million and as 800 kra anke se etimi ye eku na yenga ye twa ye bo nanso so saade no yentimi nye nti akua atofo na eba no omu na twabo maye nti omba na di na busu ane opane na obeton ompa na okọ.
Nana Boami, who has been farming his whole life, says it is for these reasons that farming does not look attractive to his children, most of whom are pursuing other careers in the cities.
No krepa de o kan ye said de adwuma ne yet no mboa bi ani ba bia na afuo no so no sa wo do na obetu bare na ebebusu a wonya hwe nti na amadwuma no ye nyina ya paba nti ye nya adwuma fofora nka beja aku adwuma no.
MP for the predominantly yam and maize growing area says government needs to roll out interventions to make farming attractive.
Since most people living here, they are all farmers, and the government has to ensure that they get necessary support, something like tractors and fertilizers and other things that can help the farmers. And also, since it's a deprived area, they need something like microfinance that can support the farmers to farm in a large scale.
There are many other smallholder rural farmers who feel the same way as Nana Boami. They say they are gradually losing interest in this key occupation that really puts food on our table.
The United States Embassy says Ghana reserves the right to open its agricultural landscape to accommodate genetically modified foods. The information officer at the U.S. Embassy, Jean Clark, said the U.S. view it is in the U.S. view, Ghana's decision to decide what is right for her, but says they recognize the importance of the science-led research aspect of it. The United States agro-industrial corporations and other foreign governments have been accused of pushing for the introduction of genetically modified foods into the country, although this has generated so much debate as people have weighed in on its positives as well as negatives to the future aspirations of Ghana. Shin Clark says the use of GMOs is to achieve food security. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly has closed down the ShopRite branch on the Osu Oxford Street due to non-issuance of occupancy certificate to owners by the AMA. The situation has left many teeming patrons of the shopping mall very disgruntled.
The multifaceted ShopRite building on the Osu Oxford Street, which operates from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., was opened to the public on November 1, 2013, and has since seen a large number of patrons, perhaps due to its location. According to the security men on post, at exactly 6:30 p.m. on Monday, December 16, 2013, some officials of the AMA came to lock up the whole building and pasted on the facade of the building a notice which read, "This building has not been issued with the occupancy certificate. Please contact the Accra Metropolitan Assembly." As at the time the news team got to the premises of the shopping mall, members of the management board had already left but had this notice for its customers. Attempts to talk to the security men on duty also proved unsuccessful. This fruit seller opposite the building says the directive by the AMA has affected their business. A patron of the shopping mall could not hide her disappointment.
Yeah, I was really coming to shop, and then I got here and I realized they've closed. It hurts me a lot because I've never been here before, and I heard around people saying the place is nice, and I wanted to come myself and come and check how the place is. So I came, and before I realized they've closed. So it really hurts me, and then I couldn't turn back easily home.
Joynews will keep viewers updated on new developments.
We are putting in efforts to raise the AMA over the telephone. In the meantime, Bright Etonam, Corporate Affairs Manager of the Bureau of Public Safety, has been telling us why it is important to acquire the occupancy certificates.
Occupancy permits or certificates are documents that signify that a building surveyor is satisfied and has approved your building as being suitable for occupation. And an occupancy permit, let me state, is not a statement that all the building work is necessarily complete, nor a certificate that states that all the building work complies with the relevant legislation. An occupancy permit is issued when your building is suitable to occupy from a health and safety point of view.
I see. How important is the certificate?
The certificate is important because it protects buyers, sellers, and in fact even the tenants in the field of real estate. Because in the point of health and safety, in issuing a occupancy permit or certificate, we look at certain things like the basic structures like the toilet facility,
right,
the safety, like the smoke alarm, the water supply, sanitary, cooking facilities, and all those things, which the tenants or even the users will need. So in issuing all these things, you need to make sure that these things, these structures that I mentioned are in place before you start your business or you start operating a business like that.
Who needs an occupancy certificate?
An occupancy certificate is issued to any industrial or commercial building expanding a tenant space or replacing a revoked or expired permit. So anybody who puts up a business like the one we know right now, the ShopRite,
right,
or basically an industrial or commercial building, needs a permit.
Have you looked into the matter of the ShopRite closure by the AMA?
I really realized that with the little information we have, we know that ShopRite started operating a few months or a few weeks back.
Right.
Okay. Yes. And our point as a bureau is that per my explanation of occupancy permit, before you start or operating a business, you need to have all these things checked by a surveyor before you start operating your business. Now, if my understanding of what I said that ShopRite started operating a couple of weeks ago, it means two things. One, to the extent that AMA has, ShopRite has caused all these factors which I mentioned earlier on are not in place in terms like the water supply, supply of sanitary cooking facilities, local allowance and such. To the extent that they do not have these facilities, then the AMA is right in closing that facility down. But on the other hand, we have in cases where all these facilities are provided, they just lack what I said, the certificate. That is what I also said in my earlier comment, that occupancy permit, it is not a certificate that says that a building will comply. So I would have preferred, or the bill would have suggested that in that case, the building shouldn't have been closed down, but rather engage management to just get the necessary certificate to continue with their business.
So finally, we got in touch with the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, except they tell us they won't comment on the matter, but Public Relations Officer of the Assembly tells us also that they are engaging managers of ShopRite Osu Oxford Street branch in a meeting. We'll bring you an update on whatever the meeting comes up with. In the meantime, let's check out something on the Ghana Medical Association, which has served notice that could be a major disruption of services in public hospitals if government implements its decision to scrap the market premium of workers. According to the GMA, its members will not work overtime if the market premium is scrapped. Deputy General Secretary of the GMA has joined us over the telephone, Dr. Justice Youngson. Hello.
Hi.
Elaborate on this. You don't get market premiums, and so you'd work just your regular hours?
Good afternoon to your listeners. Basically, what we are saying is simple. The so-called interim market premium arrangement that Fair Wages and Salaries Commission put in place as part of the single fine salary, as far as the GMA is concerned, we were not part of that so-called interim market premium arrangement. In our case, what happened was that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, together with government agencies, i.e. Ministry of Health and Finance, took us to the Labour Commission, where we had a compulsory arbitration process conducted. Now, at the third compulsory arbitration, the basic issues were that the doctors wanted their overtime recognized and paid for. We went through the issues, and then we all had to adduce some evidence before the court. Now, it is interesting to note that the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Finance, and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission came together as one body and told the court in black and white, the documents are there for everybody to verify, that the doctors do 200 extra hours aside the normal 40 hours a week schedule for every worker that is supposed to be working under the single fine salary structure. And based on that 200 extra hours, the court decided that, well, if that is your evidence, it is not fair to say that you will not pay them for that amount of work. Because our Labour Act says that you should recognize overtime and pay for. So if you, as an employer, you adduce evidence to the fact that they do 200 hours. Mind you, the doctors, we were talking about between 266 hours and 400 hours, depending on where the doctor is located. Because doctors who find themselves in the district where basically they are the only person at post, basically end up working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Right.
But whatever it is, we said, okay, we'll go along with their 200 hours evidence as they have given. So based on that, the court decided that government Fair Wages, for that matter, should pay the senior doctors 60% of the accumulated hours and whatever the equivalent will be included. And then the junior doctors, the government should also pay 50% of that. We as GMA were not happy, but we accepted the ruling of the court, and that is what is been in operation up to date. Now, if government is now saying that we are going to scrap the market premium arrangement, what we are saying is that we wouldn't, to say to them what they should do.
Dr. Jansen,
we want them to recognize our overtime and pay for. If they are not going to pay for it, and they are also going to scrap the market premium, what we are going to do is to work 40 hours a week like any other worker under the single fine salary structure. We work Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, and then we close. We don't do any weekend.
Dr. Jansen, my understanding was that it will then decide who deserves the market premium.
Yes, because there's no definition. Yes.
What is informing your decision that you may not get this market premium?
No, we are not saying we may not get market premium. Market premium, if you look at the true definition of it, the technical definition, as well as the government fight paper, is not synonymous with overtime. It is different from overtime.
Right.
The Labour Act says that any worker who does overtime should be recognized and paid for. So whether government pays market premium at some point or not, based on the true technical definition of the government fight paper, if doctors, based on government's own activities, decide that doctors qualify for market premium, it does not mean that our overtime should not be paid for. Market premium basically is some amount of money you pay the worker to attract him to work for you because maybe that still is a short supply or it's difficult to come about and all that.
So since you served the notice, Dr. Jansen, sorry to cut you, but I'm sure we get that import. Since you served the notice, what's been the response?
Well, as usual, government and its functionaries, I'm sure, are playing the role of an ostrich. They are pretending not to have heard. We've communicated to them formally. They are pretending not to have heard. But we also want to let the public know that if that decision to scrap that market premium arrangement as it exists now, because what exists now is basically payment for our overtime. That is what I want the whole world to know. So if they decide that they are going to scrap it, then no problem. It is their right to do it. But we also reserve the right not to do any overtime. Because you cannot hire a man to work and not pay him.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jansen. We'll leave it here for now. Dr. Justice Jansen is Deputy General Secretary of the Ghana Medical Association. The association has served notice there could be major work disruptions if the overtime is not worked out, as well as if government goes ahead to implement its decision to scrap the market premium. We'll do some other stories. And the Driver, Vehicle and Licensing Authority has announced measures, it says, are aimed at addressing the issuance of licenses to unqualified persons. Key amongst the measures is a tightening of the electronic system introduced last year to plug loopholes identified. Speaking at Road Safety Campaign Seminar held in Accra, Acting DVLA Chief Executive Rudolph Beckley says many of the road accidents can be blamed on unqualified drivers who, as a result, lack the right skills.
The acting DVLA boss cited many road accidents which occurred as a result of the neglect of basic road safety rules by unqualified drivers, adding that his outfit is collaborating with the police, MTTU and other agencies to clamp down on drivers with fake driving licenses.
There is a task force between the DVLA, the MTTD and the National Road Safety Commission, and we are strong on the road. A lot of such drivers have been recalled to our system. A lot of vehicles have been pulled out of the system. Since we began this exercise in November to date, we have accosted over 200 vehicles and more have been accosted. As for the drivers and the fake licenses, it's numerous. We are doing this exercise to weed off these miscreants on our roads so that we can enjoy a large measure of comfort and safety.
He noted the activities of hangers-on at the DVLA, also known as Goro Boys, also contribute to the phenomenon of fake licenses, which the electronic system was introduced to check.
Goro cannot thrive effectively without an inside help or assistance. We have observed that. Realize that the Goro have even faked all our documentations. And it's the reason we have embarked on a proactive online system that initiates an action with us and you. Then we can track because we have filled the form online already. So therefore, we will not give you any form again to fill, which we believe that Goro has, faked. So we have online forms you fill, and we can only deliver your service if the system recognizes you. That way, you realize that all our documentations are intact because we have systems check. We conduct audit trail to ensure that whoever comes into the system, at the end of the day, we match activity with the revenue so that there will not be any loss of revenue.
The Deputy Minister of Roads and Highways, Isaac Ejay Mensah, stressed his outfit is also collaborating with other stakeholders to ensure an accident-free Christmas.
For this Christmas, we have pursued still the issue of maintenance of our roads and making sure that they are safe for usage. And of course, we have this relationship also with the other agencies that are in charge of ensuring road safety, like the Road Safety Commission and others, to ensure that whatever support they need from us, we accord them. There is this, synergy, this connection between these organizations, and indeed the Ministry of Transport are supervising and making sure that all these are adhered to.
The seminar is part of measures to prevent and reduce the occurrence of accidents before, during and after the Christmas festivities.
You're watching News Today. I'll be right back. Welcome back. The Ghana Mine Workers Union is urging government to scrutinize the books of multinational mining firms in the country, especially those enjoying tax holidays. Secretary of the union, Prince William Ankara, says the scrutiny is necessary because some of the firms are abusing the waivers they are enjoying by engaging in reckless expenditure, which deprives the state of the revenue due it. He was addressing newsmen at a national executive meeting of the GMU.
Waiver of taxes, which comes with tax holidays, is an incentive used to attract firms into the country to exploit resources which otherwise would remain untapped due to a lack of capital, machinery, and sometimes expertise. The exploitation of these resources, though, may come with the full complement of the taxes, which would usually accrue to government, generates badly needed jobs. The about 19,000 strong mine workers union, key beneficiaries of these mining sector jobs, however, believe some of their employers are abusing this opportunity.
I can assure that we have reckless spending in there. The expatriates that get paid market value that you cannot believe it. And those huge money is something that doesn't translate to productivity. So it's important that whilst we are willing to sacrifice where the need be, we ensure that as a government, beyond taking royalties, we begin to be a bit inquisitive as to what really goes on in-house. It may seem to be an interference, but let's face it, multinationals have no national identity. If you don't apply the checks and balances, they have their own way. All the tax havens here and there, we want to scrutinize their books, make sure there's open book administration, in that if we all sacrifice or give it further dispensation in terms of incentive, it means to ensure that we don't have bad times where many of our people will lose their job.
The miners are meeting to take stock of their investment and also position members against possible layoffs due to a fall in gold prices. Prince William Ankara, however, downplays fears some of the companies may fold up due to the decline in prices.
It's evident that closure will not be the case. And as I said, we don't have to go to New York. I mean, it's in Ghana. And the reality being that they are very smart business leaders. They will try and really contain the shock through labor redundancies, which we think is not our best option. Again, the other cost structures, mergers and acquisition that are virtually reckless in scope. They don't bring the return on investment, procurement and all those, expatriate recruitment here and there where they don't add value. So it's important that at least in an engaged process, we'll learn from these experiences so that we'll be able to adjust as and when the events occur. But it's a cycle that you cannot really dodge.
The union puts the number of mine workers who have been laid off so far at about 3,000, with more expected to be relieved early next year. The General Secretary, however, explains financial literacy programs available to miners, as well as the encouraging remuneration, should be able to provide them with a comfortable life away from mining.
Multi-TV is bringing a one-stop shopping opportunity for Christmas shoppers at a great discount. The discount fair, which is the first of its kind, takes off from December 18 to 22 at the Trade Fair Centre, and it is to make shopping for you this season easy and affordable.
TV is organizing this fair for the first time, 2013, bringing together all goods and wares that you normally get during Christmas. We're trying to bring together under one umbrella, easing traffic to Accra. At the moment, I have clients coming with suits, with Christmas bags, with Christmas toys for kids and for adults. I also have people coming with African wear, anything you can think of that you'd want to buy as present for someone during Christmas. We, at the moment, negotiating with clients, and we are putting up packages that would suit the general public. I can't tell you whether a client is going to do a 50% discount or is going to do a 20% discount, but definitely there's going to be a discount which you feel it. And the special attraction you find for that Christmas around, dishing out gifts to kids. So rush. We want to through a special invitation to the general public, especially those with goods and wares who want to clear their stock over the Christmas period, to rush, call through the following number: 0302 221 1688. That's 0302 221 1688. Or also call on mobile number 0244 344 568 for registration. Multi-TV, just thrills.
Boeing has authorized a $10 billion, just about 6.1 billion pounds, buyback of its own shares, the largest in the company's history. In addition to raising its quarterly dividend, this means that Chicago-based Boeing's dividend will increase by about 50% to 73 cents a share to be paid in March next year. The company is looking forward to reward its shareholders as its cash flow improves from the higher sales and production of jetliners such as the 787 Dreamliner. Boeing's previous buyback record was $7 billion in 2007, with $800 million still unused. The company says the new repurchase program reflects its positive outlook. That's it for business. I'll be right back. You're all come back. Let's do some sports news now. And Ghana will set camp in the Brazilian city of Maceió during the Brazil 2014 World Cup. The city is regarded as the most violent city in Brazil. Information gathered indicates the Ghanaian contingent that attended the World Cup draw in Brazil last week firmed up the venue after touring other facilities in the city, the capital and the largest city of the coastal state of Alagoas. Now, this means that it has the unfortunate distinction of being Brazil's most dangerous city and the world's third, with a homicide rate of 135 per 100,000 people. Once known for its idyllic beaches and colonial architecture, the city's homicide rate has climbed by 185% in just 10 years. Much, if not most, of the violence is drug-related, with numerous addicts murdered every week due to unpaid debts. One man, a resident of one of the city's sprawling favelas, said that 5 of his sons had been murdered in recent years. Barcelona against Manchester City is the pick of the games in the Champions League round of 16 for 2013-2014. The Spanish champions will face Manuel Pellegrini's free-scoring side after being drawn first out of the pot in Monday's proceedings in Lyon. World heavyweight champion Vitaly Klitschko has given up his WBC title and says he is unlikely to fight again because he is focusing on politics. The World Boxing Council has made him a champion emeritus, which would allow him to directly challenge a new champion if he wants to resume boxing. But the 42-year-old, who is a Ukrainian opposition leader, said that something he currently cannot imagine. His focus, like I told you earlier, is on politics in Ukraine, and he feels the people there need him. The 6'7" heavyweight has won 45 of his 47 professional fights, 41 by knockout, with one of his 2 defeats, a controversial reverse against Britain's Lennox Lewis in 2003. The Ukrainian's younger brother, Vladimir, holds the other significant world heavyweight belts. That's it for sports, brought to you by Tigo. Fresh gunfire has erupted overnight in the South Sudanese capital, Juba, a day after the government said it had quashed an attempted coup. There are reports of heavy weapons being fired near military headquarters just outside Juba. Several thousand people have taken refuge at two United Nations compounds. On Monday, President Salva Kiir blamed soldiers loyal to his dismissed deputy, Riek Machar, for the violence, but said the government was in control. In Nigeria, the UN says more than 200 people have been killed in Islamist-related violence in northeast Nigeria since a state of emergency was declared in May. The UN said the figure related to killings of civilians and the military by the Islamist group Boko Haram in the states of Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe. It also includes insurgents killed by security forces repelling attacks. This is the first time independent casualty figures have been issued since emergency rule was declared. Thousands of people have been killed since 2009 when Boko Haram launched its campaign to install strict Islamic law in northern Nigeria. A former head of British Armed Forces has warned the world should be paying more attention to the sub-Saharan threat from Al-Qaeda. General Sir David Richards said Britain needed to learn more from what it had done and failed to do. He also questioned whether the NATO operation against Libya in 2011 was the right thing to do, suggesting it may have contributed to the spread of arms in the region. In the past year, Islamist groups have stepped up the activities in several African countries. A judge has ruled the U.S. government's gathering of Americans' phone records is likely unlawful. U.S. District Judge Richard Leon, appointed by Republican President George W. Bush in 2002, wrote in a 68-page ruling, and I quote, "I cannot imagine a more indiscriminate and arbitrary invasion than this systematic and high-tech collection and retention of personal data on virtually every single citizen. This is raising serious doubts about the value of National Security Agency's so-called metadata program, metadata counterterrorism program." Now, the U.S. Department of Justice said it was reviewing the ruling in a case brought by Larry Klayman, a conservative lawyer, and Charles Strange, described in court documents as the father of a cryptologist technician for the NSA who was killed in Afghanistan in 2011. The judge ordered the government to stop collecting data about the two plaintiffs who were Verizon Communications Inc. customers. There's showbiz ahead, don't go away. You're welcome back. Hotel Marjorie in Tema over the weekend was packed with hundreds of music lovers who turned up for Adom FM's High Life Agogo concert. They were treated to music from 3 of the finest high life artists in Ghana, Papa Youngson, George Darko, and Nana Echampo. Here's a playback.
The poolside of Hotel Marjorie hosted probably one of its biggest high life concerts in recent times. Though not a space to accommodate 1,000 people, the hundreds who turned up for the concert turned out to be a great audience. And the 3 high life veterans, George Darko, Nana Champong, and Papa Youngson, who rarely mounts the stage, did not disappoint. George Darko got the concert underway with hit songs from his repertoire. Obviously the youngest of the trio, Nana Champong, followed and raised the tempo some more. And well, you could say making Papa Youngson the last act was akin to saving the best for the last, as he took the whole experience a notch higher. The High Life Agogo concert is an annual pre-Christmas event organized by our sister station Adom FM every year.
This is News Today, our main stories again. Ghana Medical Association serves notice of a major disruption of services in public hospitals if government implements its decision to scrap the market premium. Tension high in South Sudanese capital Juba, a day after the government said it had quashed an attempted coup. Many thanks for staying through. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. My name is Kemini Nyamani Amana. Enjoy the rest of our programs. In the meantime, goodbye from me.